everybody, and welcome back to Discover Me TV. I'm Jordan Toronto, and here with me today is Elle Jae. And I'm very excited to get into some fun stories about her life and her career. So, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we found each other. We worked together on a showcase called the Casino Theater a little while ago.
It's good, right? Yeah, it is good.
And also, she and Matt behind the camera there have a lot of great Penn State things in common, right? You guys were never there at the same moment, or were you?
He was there my first year.
Oh, okay. Yes, you did.
And left after my first year.
Got it. So there was a little crossing of paths. So tell me about that. Like, was Penn State a very significant sort of
Penn
beginning?
State was the best for me as an artist.
Yeah.
I have my undergrad degree in theater as well, in acting, but I always knew that there was something more. Personally, that I needed to tap into.
Yeah.
So going into grad school and having that one-on-one attention and that in-depth attention on expanding my artistry is exactly what I needed.
Love that.
I didn't discover myself as a writer until Penn State, because that's where I wrote my first project, Junior, which went on to be made into a film by one of the filmmakers there, Pearl Gluck. She directed it, screened across the world, won awards, nominated for awards. So if it wasn't for Penn State, I don't think that I honestly would have, started.
You wouldn't have tapped into that piece of you.
Never.
Were you just always like, I'm a performer, I'm an actor? That was your whole life from childhood on?
From childhood on, actually starting at the age of 8.
Nice.
My mom showed me this movie called Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, starring Bette Davis. Have you seen it?
No.
A lot of people haven't. It's an old black and white film. I remember watching it, not knowing exactly what Bette Davis was doing, but I fell in love with whatever that was.
Oh, neat.
And it was like, okay, I want to do what that is. What is that?
Right.
Yeah. And my mom was like, that's acting. So that's where the love.
That's so neat.
Thank you. Yeah, that's where the love started from. But I've always written in journals and things of that sort, but I've never wrote a story. But that part of me never, it came to life, or was birthed rather, at Penn State. Yeah.
I love that.
I will always give kudos to my training for that.
That is so neat.
Yeah.
And interestingly, you went there to continue acting training. So it wasn't necessarily that you knew until you were sort of there in the midst of your training that you thought, that you realized there was some other creative
there
piece
was
of you
something
coming
else.
out.
I was completely open.
That's neat. And that's kind of why, probably, right?
Right. And I knew I needed to be to even strengthen myself as an artist. I knew I needed to be open to something, because I was closed to whatever it was. Didn't have a name to it. And I knew that I would find that discovery in an intense program like grad school, because you have no choice, right?
Right.
You have to show up and completely remove any type of stigma, open your heart completely.
Wow.
And be okay with living in the uncomfortability rather, and that was throughout the course of 3 years.
Yes. I love that. Yeah. And I love that you were like, I didn't have a name for it, which at 8 you didn't have a name for it either, but you were like that.
Oh my God, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So those are like different kind of milestones, it seems like, in your like sort of life as an artist, maybe. Or just, as a little spirit who is a creative, right? Yeah. I mean, because at 8 you were like, I don't know what that is, but it's calling me.
It's calling me.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I've kind of said that there's certain times in my life that I've been like, it's the mothership calling me home. That's what I call it. But that's what it feels like. There have been certain moments, and I think that sounds like what that was too for you then. And then again, like the mothership of sort of writing and a different way of expressing yourself was calling you home again.
Right.
So did you grow up, obviously, then, I assume, if you were sort of opened at Penn State to it as a child, do you feel like you were exposed to a lot of things and open to things?
When my grandmother passed, then we went to the dinner that I forget what they call it, the dinner after the funeral.
Yeah.
And a family friend walked up to me. They called me Goldie because in my family, I'm the only one on my father's side with blonde hair and blue eyes and light skin. So they call me Goldie.
Aww. And did you like that? Or?
Yeah, I love it.
It's super
I love
cute.
It. It's definitely something, one of my names that I love. But a family friend walked up to me and said, "Oh my God, Goldie, look how much you've grown. I remember when you were a child how you used to just sit in the corner and stare at people and cry all the time." And when she said that to me, I was like, oh my God, from the beginning, I was a very empathetic individual and always observant. I really rarely talked and expressed myself like I do now. It's just amazing to have that voice and to feel like I'm being heard and valued with whatever I'm feeling. But no, as a child, I didn't have that. I wouldn't say I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't do it.
You were just, at that point, you were just taking it all in.
I was soaking everything in. Yeah. And now to have that opportunity to express it. And that's probably another reason why I fell in love with acting, because you can do that.
Yes.
On stage, right? You learn about these different characters. You are still yourself. You have your own perspective, but here we are in a new world and different circumstances and obstacles and objectives, and I can
let some of that stuff
out.
Yeah, because it sounds like you were filling yourself with all kinds of things you were observing, and then all of a sudden you had ways of letting it out. That's neat. I love that. And then so as a little girl, then did you start doing little bits that did you do plays and stuff as a little kid?
I've always had an imaginary friend.
Oh.
My mom brought it up to me maybe a year ago, and they call me Girly.
You were Girly, you were
Still
Goldie.
call me Girly and Goldie, yeah. She's like, Girly, remember you used to talk to yourself? I said, I still do. I still do to this day.
So
and
you were
I'm not embarrassed about it at all.
Right.
Yeah, and not only do I just talk things out, I answer as well. That's the way that I cope with things, I guess. I don't know.
That's excellent. I think probably a lot of other people could probably do that.
Well,
and could
you
use
should.
it. I
honestly.
know.
I mean, because you only have yourself at the end of the day.
That's a good point.
You have your loved ones and your family and your friends, but who are you really connecting with? And that's what the journey I'm going on now is. Not only truly being connected with myself, but loving myself and treating myself with more kindness is the journey that I'm going on. But yeah, as a child growing up, always had an imaginary friend, but now I realize it wasn't an imaginary friend. It wasn't this external being. It's me speaking to me.
I love that.
And loving that and embracing her, if you will, myself.
Yes.
But
and so it's you had the answers. Because you said, I didn't just talk, I answered. And I think that what's so awesome is that you were recognizing, who's answering? Who is that person? That's me too.
Exactly.
I think that's very cool.
Thank you so much.
I love that.
When was the first time I started theater? Was in high school.
Oh, okay, yeah.
After I no longer did track. So I was this big athlete, and ran track. I'll never forget the day that I went and had my physical done, and the doctor said, you have scoliosis. It's hereditary. It runs in the family. Oh. And that was my freshman year. And I asked her then, is that going to, me running track and doing all of these extraneous exercises, is that going to impact my spine? I don't want to grow up with any type of crazy. And she was like, yeah, it can, and then it might not. And I was like, screw it. I'm going to let that go. What else can I get into? Went to the drama club. Never left.
That's
so here we
awesome.
Are. Mm-hmm.
And so that little Betty Davis seed that got planted when you were 8 then came
to fruition.
Back.
She woke up.
That's amazing. Do you miss track, or do you feel like you really just kind of fulfilled that?
I literally fulfilled that whatever that was.
Yeah.
It was fulfilled completely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Aww.
And then that competitive spirit, from being an athlete, it translated so well in the arts.
Nice.
Because you have to be dedicated. You have to be disciplined. You're not just learning the lines. You're actually breaking it down per beat, per moment,
Right.
And all of that comes from my athleticism.
A lot from other athletes who became actors, or that it translates so beautifully in so many ways.
Seamless, literally.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And probably Could be, Matt's done this video called like why professional athletes are better actors than you are.
The discipline,
right?
yeah.
And I think and it's so interesting, yeah. So there were so many things that you were like, oh, this makes perfect sense. How I can just bring it immediately into my acting. That's so cool. Now, where did motherhood come in? When did you have your first baby?
My first baby was 9 years ago.
I know, isn't that crazy?
And honestly, it was because of her that I decided to pursue this craft professionally.
Oh, that's a neat
there was a
thing
moment
you don't hear every day, which I love.
Yeah, there was a moment when I lost belief in myself as a creative artist after I graduated from undergrad and tried a few other things, a few other jobs, a few other interests. And I had her, and when she turned 2, I said, I'm going back to school. And that's when I went off to Penn State and decided I will never leave again, Nice. And I think it was just the love and the dedication that I saw I had from my daughter. It's like, if I can give that to a being that, yes, I did birth, but why am I not giving that to myself? Yes. I am worth it. Let's do it. Let's go. And that's, yeah.
Which reminded me, when you said like that new thing was sort of birthed, you said something like, you worded it like, that was birthed out of me. And I thought, well, it's a similar, I feel like, having had 3 kids, I in some ways feared that I thought in my head maybe the kids were going to be like sort of the thing that were going to stop me. But actually, I think I was more and more creative in new ways.
Yes, so much. You know
Mom Jordan has been so much more interesting, I think, than pre-Mom Jordan.
What has been so interesting, though, is because as a young child, sitting back and staring and observing people, I do that with my now I have 2 babies, a 9-year-old and a 1-year-old. But with Lauren growing up, I was obsessed with, and still is, with everything that she did, the way that her feet connected to the floor, her breathing, how honest she is when she asks a question, and there's no influx or inflection on the words to make you feel bad or anything. The innocence, innocence that she still has to this day, I'm so grateful for. But the innocence of when she was younger and how she would talk to me and ask questions, I'm like, oh my God, this is influential to my artistry. Look at you. Yes. And one of my professors used to say to me in grad school, when you ask the question, really ask the question. Really ask it. Right. And so I would pick up on that. I kind of felt guilty in grad school. Like I have something at home that's even teaching me a little bit more that I'm pulling from.
Yes. Yeah. Well, because it was like, absolutely, like a mentor and a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, right? But like, it's true. Like the honesty.
Yes.
And there's because we as adults then put on all this other weird stuff where we're like guarded and weird and we're like, how do I ask it and how do I do it in an appropriate way or not in an appropriate way? There's just such an earnest, like, I actually want the answer to my question. Yes. What a concept that adults lose. Yes. And we're like, we have to like learn how to just talk.
Social concepts.
Yes. And then we have to be like, wait, how do I kind of peel all that stuff off and go like, wait, what does it feel like to just actually ask a question and mean, I just want to know the answer. Yeah. And like, that's what's sort of amazing about, being
about children. Yeah.
Yes. And about children.
Yeah.
It teaches us again.
It
just
does.
How to like sort of be in this much more pure way that we've sort of forgotten or been kind of taught out of.
Shied away from. Yeah. Because we want to be liked.
Yes.
Loved and accepted by all.
I know.
When children don't have that concept.
And then they're liked. Guess what?
Completely.
I mean, they can be obnoxious to each other, but let's be honest. Who do we look to and think, oh, it's so appealing, like the energy of a child, right? Mm-hmm. But we're like, all stilted and, worried about how we look, right? Yeah. So, yay for kids and yay for Penn State and all these things that have opened us up to all these new things about ourselves. Okay. So, if you had to say, because this is Discover Me TV, I love the idea of like when I discover somebody I really love and think is interesting, like you. Is there somebody, an actor, an artist, or a musician that you just love that you think maybe not everybody knows about, but you think like everybody? Well, you've already told us about that wonderful movie by Betty Davis. Is there anything else, any like musician or artist or anything that is like kind of just touched you that you thought maybe there's somebody out there that might resonate with this?
Well, I think everyone knows her, but Beyonce for sure. And the reason why is not because she's Beyonce. It's because of her work ethic. And that is what attracts me completely. Yeah. I've been a fan of her since I was 14 years old, since she came out with Destiny's Child with No, 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 and it's something very empowering as a woman of color.
Yes.
To see another woman of color not, shy away from the barriers that are presented to her, to literally break them and shatter them.
Yes.
And to top herself every step of the way. And regardless of how big and gigantic she has come in this entertainment industry, she doesn't stop. She humbles herself completely. And I'll never forget on her recent documentary how she says people don't want to rehearse anymore because you have to humble yourself. And I said, oh my God, that's so true.
Yes.
Even being around other actors in this field professionally who are like, oh, when the cameras start rolling, I'll be ready. I don't want to go over lines with you. Or I don't, on theater, like, oh no, I'm not going to show up to rehearsal. I'm just going to phone it in. That's the worst.
Oh my gosh.
It's disrespectful. It's irresponsible.
And I think
to the art.
Especially with the theater background, I think that's so foreign and so weird. And I know, like Matt on Films, always wants to rehearse and usually knows that he's found the right people who want to rehearse too.
I love it.
And so, yes, if there's sort of like, yes, there's something to be said for spontaneity, which there's always going to be still.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said by, of course I could use rehearsal. And it doesn't matter. So I love that you're saying it's like the combination of the fact that she's like, I can go bigger. I am this big. And I'm not stopping. Exactly. I don't have to go, well, that's good enough, right? She can go even bigger. Yeah. At the same time saying, I can always learn.
Yes.
I'm not absolutely there.
Yes.
So I love that. Like the confidence to say, trust me, I'm going to go and go and go. And I'm an ever expanding like star.
Yeah.
And yet, I also am not above rehearsing and getting better and learning something new.
That's just amazing and very admirable to me.
Yep. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank
you. This was fun.
This was super fun. Love it. Well, anytime, I would love to again. So if there's something else new, I would love to maybe show some clips of something or certainly link some things that you've got that you're proud of.
That'd be
Junior,
perfect.
and anything else that you've like written or done that you want, people to know about, I will definitely have that. And then if you do something new that you want to talk about, I would love to have you back again.
I love it.
Yay!
Thank you, baby.
Thank you. Yay! So Elle Jae, everybody, thank you so much for watching Discover Me TV. I'm Jordan Toronto, and I will see you in the next video. Woo!